Hello, what's happening? Matt aka Lethal Frag here. We're going to be talking about curbing your play for a new game, and in specific, Modern Warfare 3. So I know I struggled a little bit in Night 1 until I kind of got my bearings and figured out what was going on. I mean, this is a really important subject to cover for gamers. I mean, it goes for any game, any style of game that you play. You're going to have to adjust your play for the new style of game, because as we know, every game release is not the same, and although we're using the same engine as Modern Warfare 2, this is definitely not Modern Warfare 2 in the way the game's set up. And this is one of the biggest skills that you'll see from veteran gamers, from people that have been playing for a really long time, is their ability to adjust and adapt to new situations. So we'll talk about some of the stuff that's new. And the maps are really small. And this is a great example. Dome here is a very small map. Actually reminds me a little bit of Nuketown in size, maybe a little bit bigger. But either way, you have to be able to adjust your style of play. And we're going to talk a little bit about how to do that for Modern Warfare 3. In some ways, you can be a better Modern Warfare 3 player. I know a lot of people that were good at Modern Warfare 2 are finding this game to be terribly difficult. And that's simply because the pace is much higher. And now looking at the pace is much higher, there's so much more action going on, you need to adjust your style of play accordingly. And what I mean by that is you need to adjust your pace in retrospect of what the pace of the game is. So knowing that it's a faster pace, you have a couple options. You can either slow it way down, and start camping a little bit, start hanging with your teammates and picking people off as they come, because on a small map you know they're coming. Or you can start aggressively flanking, and this is what I suggest, is aggressively flanking and pushing action towards your teammates. You'll find on most maps, even though if they're they seem like they're a little bit bigger, the playable area on those maps is much smaller than what we've seen in previous Call of Duties. So you need to make a conscious effort to adjust your gameplay and maybe make yourself a little bit uncomfortable doing something you're not used to. Just for example, in Modern Warfare 2, I camped a lot. I'll admit it. I spent a lot of time hanging in the back, picking people off from ultra long range. And I found that that's not really an option in this game for me. So I just started running. It's kind of take my kill death a little bit, but I'm not too worried about it. I'm trying to figure out the flow and the action of the game, and that's what I suggest that you do when you say, forget the kill death for the first week or so here. Let's run around and figure out how the map actually works. And that's how you're going to figure out how the spawns work on smaller maps, is by running and gunning. There's really no other way. You actually get the opportunity to see the other team spawn. You can go in the theater mode and look all you want. You're still going to have to get a feel for the game. You're going to have to get a feel for the spawns and a feel how the overall flow of the game goes. And you only get a small piece of that if you sit back and camp it out. Now, if you're totally uncomfortable with that, you can still sit back and camp and learn what you're doing that way. It's just going to take you considerably longer. It'll take you, several weeks rather than the week it would take if you were running gunning. In addition to having, smaller maps, there is new game types to play, and nobody knows how to play a kill confirmed yet. I mean, it seems kind of natural to me that you just run out and try to grab all the dog tags you can, but I mean, it adds a whole new element of spawning and all sorts of other little goodies that we're not used to. I think that's part of the excitement for the game, is that there's, new things going on. So the main point I'm trying to make here is don't get too frustrated. I see this over and over again. Every time a new first-person shooter releases, there's somebody raging about it because things aren't going their way. But that's the point of having a new game out. Things aren't supposed to go your way. That means that they did a good job adjusting the game. And it's your job as a gamer, as a competitor, to adjust your play from there and start understanding the game before you judge it and before you start hating on it. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy that rages on the game because he sucks at it right when he starts. I mean, obviously we all have high hopes. We all played a lot of first-person shooters, some of us for a really long time, and we have this expectation of being great when we first get into the game. But you need to curb that a little bit when a game comes out. Give it a couple of weeks before you put a harsh opinion on it. I had a lot of things go wrong on my first night. The theater mode wasn't working properly. PC does not have Call of Duty Elite yet. All sorts of stuff. But, you know, I just kind of threw that to the side. I'm going to give it a couple weeks. I'm going to wait and find out if I really like this game or not. And if I don't after a couple weeks, you know, that's cool. You know, at least I gave it a shot. The other thing I've noticed in this game is it's really beneficial to kind of run with your teammates when you're first getting out. There's nothing wrong with flanking off the side. We talk flanking is a good thing. But roll with your team for a second before you break off to that edge. Since the maps are smaller, it'll be much more beneficial and you'll die a lot less if you give yourself a good 5-10 seconds before you try to run off and flank. This is exceptionally hard for me to do, as I am a constant flanker, especially when I play team deathmatch. I don't want to be anywhere near my teammates. I just want to get away from them so that I can, you know, go flank the other team and give my team the best chance to win. Because I know that's my skill set, that's what I do best, is running up behind the entire other enemy team. You know, finding that route to get there, to that right spot where I'm forcing all the other enemies to go into my teammates. And that's a skill I spent a lot of time practicing, but it is so much different on a smaller, faster paced map than it is on a large map. On a large map, you can just say, okay, I'm taking this section of the map, and I'm going to hold it down. I'm going to make sure the enemy does not get over here. Whereas on a smaller map like this, there's not that many routes, so your odds of actually holding down a spot by yourself are very slim. So your flanking opportunities really need to be more situational. You can run across the other side of this map in about 12 seconds, so you really don't need all that much time to flank. You have to wait for the right opportunity. So you really got to slow it down just a little bit, continue to flank, continue to run, but understand that you're going to have to wait for that opportunity, and you're probably going to miss your opportunity more times than not when you first start, because that's just how it goes with the new game. You have no idea where the enemy is spawning. Just get out there, you know, go run, go have some fun with the game. Even if you're not too stoked on it, go have some fun. That's the best you can do. That's all I got. Frag out.